What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Shad. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. I mean, but minus the COVID, I feel good.
This nigga did have COVID, traveling the world, touching shit.
It was just New York, bro. But there's a lot of people in New York. So
it's you touching shit, touching your mouth and shit. That's all it is. Touching
That too.
all the railings and shit when you walk down the stairs. Touching all the subway. Nah, you gotta.
You gotta stay like that.
You gotta stand. It's a lot of people, especially in Times Square.
Yep.
But a lot of spectacular things happened in New York, and a spectacular thing just happened in the NFL, and we just got some big news to start the day off. With Matthew Judon officially being traded to the Atlanta Falcons from the New England Patriots for a third-round pick. Obviously, that's Cass's team, so we're going to go ahead and give you the floor.
I mean, you got to be excited if you're an Atlanta fan. This has been the talk for years about how we haven't had a pass rusher. Really since John Abraham. Vic Beasley came in and had one good season, the Super Bowl season. But other than that, you really ain't had nothing back there. So he's a proven guy. 4-time Pro Bowler. Of course, he was hurt last year. He got hurt after like 4 games. But still, he got 4 sacks in 4 games. That would have tied for 4th on our team throughout the whole season. You know what I mean? That's how much we were lacking pass rush. So it's a welcome addition. I am interested. We're still waiting on the details, of course, about the contract, because you don't want to have another situation like we see in New York with Hassan. So hopefully, I'm assuming they had the contract shit figured out before they made this move. But you never know, so we'll see. But I'm excited, man. I'm giddy about this because this is something that you can build around. And we knew that our pass rush was non-existent going into this season. So I'm excited.
What say you, Chris?
I mean,
first reaction.
I guess it's a good pickup for you guys. I mean, just hearing you say, where he would have been sack-wise on your team is astonishing, honestly.
It's ridiculous.
That's crazy to hear. I didn't even realize all that. But, I mean, that's definitely going to help your team out. I mean, you got some good young corner with A.J. Terrell. You got a good safety in the back. So, somebody being able to apply that pressure to a quarterback, maybe help your defense a little bit, create more turnovers than, Jesse Bates already be getting turnovers anyway, but just to help to create more turnovers. So I mean that's a good jump for your defense.
Cool. What do you think, Shad?
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, especially the details. That's the most important thing. But on surface level, obviously, getting a player that's like Matthew Judon. I mean, you can't pass on that, especially. A third-round pick is not that bad, even though he is past 30. He's going to be 32 this year.
Tomorrow, day after tomorrow or something. Or tomorrow, actually,
so
yeah.
32 for the season. So it is going to be interesting to see what he's asking for and what the contract value would be. But yeah, like you said, I mean, picking up a pass rusher, can never go wrong with that, especially a pass rusher to his caliber. Obviously, he was hurt last year. Being 32 years old, we'll see if that's going to be something that rears its head again. But, I mean, shit, you can't. It's better than what they had. So
Exactly.
It's better than what they had.
And the third rounder, I mean, we ain't hitting a third rounder in years. So, I mean, I can take that. I can swallow that. It's easy. Of course, Braylon Trice just got hurt, who we drafted in the third round this year, towards ACL out for the season. So we had to do something. I mean, I'm glad they did. Man,
yeah, I like them old folks, don't I? I picked up Calais last year.
It's an interesting timeline. That's why I'm really interested to see how the length of the contract and everything. Because when you're signing a 32-year-old, it's probably gonna be a 2-year real contract with some fake numbers on the end for a third, maybe, or something like that. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, it's an interesting timeline signing him.
He looking for a payday. I ain't gonna lie to you.
He's old, man. I mean,
he looking
does
for.
Does he get like a Von Miller contract, like what he got with Buffalo, or is that just more because Buffalo was desperate? I mean,
we're desperate too.
Not desperate, but I mean, the only thing is it brings me back to what I was saying before. Is what are the Falcons trying to do? What's the timeline here? Because you have a D line that's all above the D line is all basically about to be above 30. So where's what's the young guy? You know, are they bringing along? And then, like you said, if it is a 2-year contract, you know, what does that look like for the future with Penix giving away a third pick, because that is a valuable pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the contract is going to say a lot. If it's a big contract, I mean that's a big contract. I would have rather have seen them go after Hassan Reddick if that's the case, because wasn't Hassan Reddick traded for the exact same thing? Maybe
Yeah.
even less.
Yeah. They gave us a third round for him.
Conditional too, though. But yeah.
Conditional third round. So could be a 2 depending on what he played. But I mean, he clearly ain't trying
It's clearly
to
gonna
play
be a
without
3. Yeah.
So,
Right.
If
Yeah.
But how do y'all feel about that with
That
the
whole-
Hassan Reddick situation? Obviously, let's to level set and kind of give an explanation of what's going on. So the New York Jets obviously traded for Hassan Reddick earlier in the year. Now we're in training camp, and Hassan Reddick has still not showed up. He's holding out for a contract, and now he has requested a trade from the New York Jets. So, given the situation, how do y'all feel about him requesting a him requesting a trade, and at this point not being signed to an extension or pay raise, whichever one he does want, or both shit.
the situation is tough because it's like, okay, you knew what he wanted. That's the sole reason why he's not in Philadelphia anymore. He wanted a bigger contract. He wanted another contract. He wasn't trying to play out his last year. And from what I've been reading, as far as like just Eagles insiders in general, he literally was going to hold out against the Eagles too and said it wasn't going to practice or wasn't going to go to training camp without a contract. So it was like, okay, well, you can go search out a trade. And I find to believe that, something wasn't said prior to him being traded to the Jets. Like, it was an agreement, and somebody in an agreement. I mean, I'm hearing from both sides saying that he was supposed to go to training camp, and then they were going to work it out. And he's like, no, I want my contract, which I understand. I mean, he on his last year. It's tough because, I mean, he has not been able to stay nowhere consistent. That's the tough part about it. And it's like, he's worth it because, he's last 4 years double-digit sacks. The only other person to do that is Myles Garrett. I'm not saying he is Myles Garrett, but, he's producing. So I feel him. I'm like, I ain't trying to play for y'all. And, it's tough on the Jets because he's not even in that system. He's never talked to any of these players. He never practiced with them. It's not like he was on the Eagles and he's doing this, and it's like, okay, he could come back. He know how the players play. He ain't in jail with none of these people. That's gonna be terrible, even if he do come back. So it's a tough situation.
I'm with you on that, Chris. I think you hit it right on the head. Like, from how, I don't want to say like it wasn't a bad start. It was tumultuous start, I guess, to his career. Just multiple teams bouncing around. So if from his point of view, you just had what he had last year, 17 sacks or something like that.
No, he had 10. I think he had 11 this past year. The year before, 11, he had 16 or 17.
16 or 17
like
before that. Yeah. The time to strike is now to get the contract that you really want. Going into your 30s, because I think he's 29 now, about to be 30.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand it from his. I'm not gonna play around. Like, I'm 29. You never know what could happen next season. If I fuck around, get hurt, and you're looking at a 30-year-old pass rusher, it's like, okay, we're not going to max him out and pay him like what he's produced over the last 2 years. It seems like a little bit of malpractice on the Jets front, but it's tough to know what was said like behind doors. Of course, they came out immediately and said that their stance has been the same, and they still expect him to play this season out and all that stuff. But like, how do you not have that kind of figured out with his agent before you pull this trigger? Like, that's just a thing you do. That's like when Brian Burns was doing his shit this all season and he got traded to the Giants. It's like them not having a contract set, just trading for him, just say fuck it.
But see, that's the thing about it. You don't normally see that. Like, usually, exactly. Like, again, we're expecting Matthew Judon to get a contract immediately. Like, maybe tonight, tomorrow, we'll get some details. When we trade for AJ Brown, as soon as we got him, sign him a contract. Like, you supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm. Should. But shit. I don't know. It's interesting on both sides because, like you said, the Jets should have nipped this in the bud already on their side, it shouldn't even be a question whether he is getting a contract or they came to an agreement. Maybe he got like a raise for the year and he becomes a free agent or something next year or something like that. They avoid the rest of his years. Who knows? But it's also, on his end, it's like, bro, you're also kind of hurting yourself because, like you said, Chris, he doesn't get to practice, so you're losing all that money from missing all these training camps, and now you're not getting to practice. You're coming into a new system with a new team.
Yeah.
They're ready to go. They're trying to win a championship. Obviously, you're coming off of a competitive team and been in the Super Bowl, 2 years ago. But it sucks on both sides. But it is interesting. How do y'all feel? Do y'all feel that it could possibly be a Hassan Reddick thing? Because, like you said, he did obviously when he was in with the Cardinals, they kind of bounced him around. They had him at middle and outside linebacker. Then they started having him rush the passer, safety, whatever the fuck they wanted to do with him. Same shit with Isaiah Simmons, really.
Yeah.
But then he goes to Carolina now with the Eagles, and then now he's on another team. Is that like a him thing that nobody wants to commit to somebody that's, getting double-digit sacks? Because there was a player like that, and I would say Yannick Ngakoue, when he had like 4 or 5 seasons with 8 straight sacks, and nobody would commit to him.
It's a great point. I think what we've seen from those organizations after the fact that both of them changed the whole front offices, you know what I mean, since then, I think that plays a big part in it too, where it's like you can't really knock them if that's clearly that, not a functional organization that you were in at the time, to the point where they needed to change the leaders, the head coaches, the GM. So I don't think it's a knock on him necessarily, but I mean it's a good point to raise. What do you think, Chris?
I was gonna say, I just think it's bad timing for him, unfortunately. Like, going to the Panthers, I mean, up until, like you said, they're changing, like front office people and coaching stuff. Brian Burns was supposed to be they guy. And they was going to go to him, but obviously he got traded to the Giants. And so, the Eagles picked him up. But I just feel like the Eagles at this point, they're just like, well, we trying to get younger. So we don't really want to pay you because you're older. Like if he was 2 years younger, they wouldn't have no problem giving him a contract this year. But because of the timing for him and for the Eagles and them trying to just because I mean our defense was pretty old last year, so they're trying to just wipe it out and get younger. So it just seemed like it's just bad timing for him everywhere he go. Like you said, he went to the Cardinals, they just had him out of position. I mean, they clearly were, like you said, they was doing the same shit to Isaiah Simmons. Like they just got him all over the place. Finally, he found a niche, and it's like, well, we're trying to pivot. You go to the Panthers. Oh well, we got somebody else. We trying to have through our quarterback situation and coaching, and it just seemed like it's bad timing for him.
I mean, and y'all clearly wanted to get younger from the point that y'all signed Bryce Huff, who was 3 years younger, to a contract that you really could have got.
Got Nolan Smith last year as well.
Yeah, him. So
yes. But with that being said, that kind of kicked us off for some of the news that's been going on over the past couple of weeks. But I think the biggest news is USA. Obviously, the Olympics have kind of dominated over the past 2 or 3 weeks, with Team USA basketball taking all the headlines. Really, outside of Simone Biles for sure, and the the Olympic women, but Steph, LeBron, KD, that was the story. They finally played together. Obviously, ultimately ended up with the gold medal. The experience over the past few weeks, what did you guys think of the entire thing, the entire run? Obviously, Chris, you might have some thoughts about Jason Tatum. I'm trying to hear what's going on.
Just to see Steph, KD, and LeBron play, I mean, it was an amazing thing to see. I mean, even with the nip and tuck game with the Serbia game, just to watch them go down the stretch and it just, you had that feeling once they got in the fourth quarter and they started hitting shots, they weren't gonna miss. They weren't gonna let them lose the game. And then, like we all said, watching Steph on that last game, it just like, oh, this what it feel like to cheer from, because none of us every one of our teams pretty much played against him. We don't care for the stuff, but I mean, just hitting shots after shots. It was an amazing run by them. And then as far as the Jason Tatum thing goes, I mean, because I guess my only issue is the quote unquote reasoning of why Steve Kerr said he didn't play him, and a lot of people are getting confused. Like, it seemed like this is his first Olympics. He literally was in the last Olympics. Literally was the second leading scorer in that last Olympics with a team that had Damian Lillard on there. He was the second leading scorer for that Olympics. So to say that he don't really fit the role is kind of weird. I don't know what Steve Kerr was doing, honestly. We all can argue about his lineups. That shit was weird as hell anyway, so I don't know what he was doing. But, I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, he got to play in front of Derek White. I'm sorry. He got to play in front of him. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care if you say he got the guard play with. Nah, he got to play in front of him. Nah, not trying to hear that.
I think this whole run was beautiful to see. I think it was hard to need to be at the same time. It's amazing that Steph, went and got his gold medal. Of course I think he was hurt last Olympics or Olympics before that, so he wasn't able to really compete during the summers. Just doing rehab and stuff. So I mean, and the way he played those last two games was just classic stuff. So it was beautiful to see. LeBron was consistent the whole time, and he actually well, I don't know if a lot of people thought this, but we even talked about like how he probably won't be playing that much. I didn't think he would go out and play, damn near 40 minutes a game a night in the exhibition games at that. So it was interesting to see LeBron, trying to like take this on and really take it seriously. I think that was the whole plan. But yeah, I think this whole thing just shows you like Steve Kerr probably not it going forward, buddy. Like let's move on. And there was a report that maybe he was moving on, but I don't know if that was verified or anything like that. But if he needs to think about it, he needs to take
Said Buddy is sick.
Yeah, he needs to take a long look at himself about this whole run. Because I get that these teams, South Sudan, Canada, wanted to Serbia wanted to get give you their best shot. But there's no reason to be in dog fights with these teams. Let's be fuck serious about it. There's no reason to be in dog fights with a South Sudan in an exhibition game. Let's be real. The lineups were weird. Of course, they played it off with like, oh, we're just experimenting, to figure out the lineup that we want to use for the tournament, blah blah blah. And it just didn't make sense. Like, I could understand if you were actually putting out lineups that actually made sense, but it really didn't. And it was a lot of, I don't know. Like Chris said, it seemed like a lot of politics for this one. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like the people that played didn't deserve to, but like Devin Booker was like way he wasn't starting is kind of what they viewed him as, which is very interesting stance in my opinion, especially when you have.
I have no problem with that, honestly.
I don't, but I'm saying like you have players like him. Players like you have set rotation basically that you already made up your mind about, and that's very clear and evident. And then you throw Jason Tatum some like pity minutes. That was fucked up, in my opinion, because it was clearly like the here nigga down minutes. Like this is Jason Tatum we're talking about. This is Jason Tatum we're talking about, and this is like he was still getting like.
I think he should have started over Drew.
I think okay, and I'm not.
I think he should have started over Drew.
But clearly they really like Drew. They love.
I mean,
Drew.
I get why, because Drew has the defense, and he is the only person that I feel like you can honestly trust that no matter what in the starting lineup, he's going to do the dirty work. Like, out of everybody on that team, or maybe outside of Derek White, but out of everybody that started on that team, because Bron, there be times he'd be like, he'd be looking at the rebound, he like, But I mean, they all do that, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, they all exert a certain amount of energy on the offensive end and on the defensive end. But I just feel like and even Devin Booker. Honestly, I didn't mind Devin Booker because Devin Booker obviously, he came up in the college game playing off the bench, and obviously he accepted Chris Paul coming to his team, Chris Paul and KD and Bradley Beal, and he's kind of fit in seamlessly. So I didn't have a problem with it because I felt like Devin Booker was probably the easiest fit and probably the best pure like catch and shoot outside of Steph and KD. that fits perfectly with Bron.
I think that's
But
fair
yeah,
too. But then you see yeah. Oh, go ahead.
oh, it is. I would say if you want to say the politics, and maybe it's the personality or something like that. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it, but does seem like there was maybe Jason Tatum could be the guy, and now like Ant has just like where it's just like no, it's no question where it's like Ant is kind of the guy. I mean, you saw the commercial. Obviously, Jason Tatum has the 2K and all the stuff that came after the championship, but after the Olympics, it was Ant that has the pictures. He's with the OGs. He had a commercial come out with Adidas. I didn't see that from Jason Tatum personally. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if they want to do that after all the conversation, but it just seems like that's like kind of like the power like pecking order where it's kind of like they're all showing love to Ant. But I mean, maybe I'm just looking too much into it. But like I said, it was a great sight to see, because it honestly and it played out perfectly, like just in totality. If you think about it, in the exhibition games, those were close games, but you had LeBron coming up clutch. He was the ones that was hitting the game winners, all that. Then when we kind of got into the early part of the tournament, KD kind of had his moment in the first game. Then he had his moment where the Serbia game was just beautiful, but like he had his moments in the first couple games, and then the last couple games ended with Steph. But the Serbia game, I mean, the comeback. How do you like make a move, like make a better movie out of it? The comeback is started off by LeBron. I mean, LeBron kind of had his hands in the entire part of the comeback, but it started off by, I'm pretty sure like they got a steal or he got like a block or something, maybe just a rebound. Takes it, he goes, gets a layup, and then from there they kind of start making their little run. Then you get a point where I think Steph ended up taking the lead with a three, and then KD closes it out with I mean, as soon as he waved it off, it was.
Yeah,
I mean,
that shit.
I'm like,
we knew that shit was going in.
Hey,
that shit
yo,
was
what
cash.
is
That
it?
nigga said, "Hey, that
He
nigga
said,
said, hey, that shit was cash." And
I think everybody
honestly
had that same thought.
once again, this could be something that I'm like overthinking, but I might even felt like that's when they were kind of they just started hooping, and it was more so like I feel like he even felt like oh shit, LeBron and Steph just turned up. Like that's why, hey, get the fuck out of the way. That's why I feel like he even took that. So like, how do you even make a better like scene than that? I wish that would have happened in the championship itself, but even though I don't know if I could have did how close that game was.
That shit was way too close for comfort right there, boy.
But yeah, we were watching it, man. I was at work watching. We was in the office, bro. It was everybody came and we was turned. It was great, man. It's. Do you think that we can get it again in 4 years? Would you want to see it again in 4 years? Them three niggas, you never know.
I don't think there's any way in hell Steph does it again. I think he would be the one to not do it again out of all three of them.
I think I
which is funny.
Go ahead.
I think Steph had I think he had fun. I think he'll do it again.
I think they all have fun.
I know
he'll do it again.
I know they have fun doing it. I mean, what makes it easier too not next year, but the next one is it being in LA. Mm-hmm. So I mean, really, what I mean?
Can take a year off and be that like Magic, come back.
I mean, he just got to be on a roster. You know what I mean? To play, right? I think that's the rules or something. So, I mean, it's possible, but at the same time, though, like going into like 2028, you kind of do want to see that, like you spoke about earlier. You want to see that next kind of crop come up and actually do something and get those, going like that. So,
what is it? 15 total players, right?
Well, really 12.
12.
Because the last three are just like practice.
Okay, so 12 total players. Next go round, who do y'all think it's going to be? So we got Ant. At this point, who knows if JT, do you guys think that JT is 100%?
Brad, he is not.
I don't even know if he wants to do that.
Going back.
I honestly think that he would be, especially if Steve Kerr is not there. And I don't think he would want the story to end like that, in my opinion.
I mean, I just feel like it would make sense if it was next year, but you talking about 4 years, he probably, I don't know.
Let's go through
so let's not count JT. We got Ant, Probably Bam. AD said he wants to play again, so we can just count those three. Therese Halliburton, that's 4.
Probably Book.
But okay, the thing about because
I don't know.
I think Ja will go crazy, and I know he was.
I would love to see Ja.
I would love to see Ja and I was thinking
That'd
between
be
him and a Jalen Brunson, I'll much rather see Ja. No offense to Brunson. Brunson nice too. Don't get me wrong, but you can't have so many guards
having his Vince Carter moment.
Man, so we're gonna add Ja. We're gonna add Ja.
I'll add Ja. Okay, so all right, so we could just go guard by guard. So point guard, we got Ja and Therese Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Trey get in that shit for real, but
you should, man.
Trey deserves to be in it, but that's tough. So I feel like it'd probably end up being like a Therese Maxey. I'm trying to think of who else can play defense at the guard.
No, Maxey is a good choice.
Or Cade.
I'd rather have Maxey.
Okay, so 3 guards. We got those Halliburton, Ja, and Maxey.
Or a nigga like Jalen Suggs. Sorry.
We could do Jalen Suggs. We can add Jalen Suggs. That's a 4.
Okay.
Jalen Suggs, and he's a shooting guard kind of too. So, he really is a shooting guard. So, shooting guards, we got Ant, Jalen Suggs. Are you putting Devin Booker in there?
I mean, why? I mean, he'll be 31, 32 at the time. I don't know. We could put him in there, but I don't know.
What's another shooting guard? I think Donovan Mitchell, wants to do it. But with all the stuff that Jaylen Brown has said, they would probably try to go after him. Do you think Jaylen Brown would go? Actually, I know he would go, so I don't even know if they asked him, he'll go.
I think he wouldn't.
Nah, I think he would. That time, I think
he's a contrarian, bro. He could do that. Put up a hissy fit and be like, yeah, nah.
Okay, if he does that, then we don't have to count him, but that would be a very silly move. But so what's another shooting guard? So we got 3. We would need. So we got a defender, a versatile guy in Booker, and Ant. All around.
That's the thing. Looking around the league at the two right now,
it probably had to be Donovan if it's not Jaylen, but it's the size factor too, especially with the size of the rest of the nations, the rest of the countries.
The hope would be one of the young bulls step up, one of these first year, second year players,
like Brandon Miller, nigga,
like Bronny.
All right. So let's move to the small forward since we're getting disrespectful. So we got 3 point guards, 3 shooting guards. If we include Donovan, we'll have 7 total.
Okay.
So small forward, I'm putting in JT. So JT, it starts to get tough again.
It is.
Mikal Bridges.
Well, you gotta
probably have to add him for the defense.
But that would make 8 or 9?
9.
That means we only got 3 spots left, right?
Ooh,
it's tough.
You got to shorten them guards up.
Take the Donovan Mitchell out.
Take Mitchell off. Because even then, if you're talking about small forward, Cooper Flag.
Would y'all let I know he'll be older, but would y'all let a PG in it?
Nah. That shit over with. That ship is sell.
Just asking.
That ship sell. No, Cooper Flag.
Yeah, so it would be Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag would probably fit in there nice.
Because he can do both. So we got AD, Bam.
Paolo.
So Cooper Flag. Paolo. And we need another big.
Chet.
Mobley, nigga. What you talking about, nigga?
Sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Mobley. Yeah, sure.
Talking about some Chet.
My bad.
Fuck out of here, man.
All right, so
everybody else said it like he American, so yeah, put Chet.
So if it's like that, how you think that shit would fare? How you think they would do?
It would be tough.
I think it'd be very tough.
And that's the thing of another reason why I say the Chet. I'm just talking shit when I'm talking saying Chet in a disgust or anything like that because he's very good. But Evan Mobley does, he would help a lot with Serbia and France, especially with what's going with because Wemby. I mean, Wemby had 26 in the championship game. I mean, in the gold medal game. I mean,
Yeah.
and then I mean, you saw. I mean, he was crying after he kind of had a little bold statement talking about if I was everybody else, I'd be worried. I would be worried. I would be worried. That man hit Joel Embiid with the nastiest hezzy.
That shit was so nasty, bro. Oh my. That's the exact thing that made me text you. That's the exact move. I was like, oh my God.
He made, what you call, almost hit a split.
Hey,
that man was out there going crazy.
He's different, and he's only going to bulk up, obviously. So, but him, I don't know what other center. I mean, obviously Jared Allen, but I don't know how old he would be by that point.
Unless you take a.
But we could definitely use
Zion should be. Zion should be on this.
I would love to
team.
see. I would love to see Zion and Ja alley-oop with
feed families.
Yeah, feed families.
For sure.
Yeah, feed families for ages. But that gives a little bit of disappointment, but a little bit of excitement for the NBA moving forward. Because it's going to be interesting to see if everybody's talking about the super teams that could come from it, but that is going to be a conversation that's obviously going to weigh heavy on the season, especially if we get in and the Lakers, Warriors, or Suns, or all three are struggling to start. It's going to be a conversation, especially around the trade deadline. So it'll be something to watch. But, enough of the NBA talk. Back to the NFL. We got NFL starting here, 3 weeks? We're 3 weeks away?
Man.
Had our first preseason week. Obviously, we had the Hall of Fame game a couple weeks ago, but that's not really nothing. Had some tough injuries already in practice. Had a trade, obviously, as we discussed earlier. Shaking some shit up. Let's go ahead and get into an AFC preview and kind of check out who everybody has 1 through 4 in division. We'll get into a playoff preview in the NFC, later on in the next couple of weeks. But let's go ahead and get into it. Chris, what's up?
All right, what division we starting with?
We're gonna
start with the West.
AFC
we'll
West.
Start with the West.
Okay.
Obviously, Chiefs number 1. I mean, I don't see nobody in that division challenging them right now. I mean, it's consistent. Honestly, the rest of the 3. I mean, the Chargers they have their quarterback or whatnot. But I just feel like as far as a team-wise, they lost a lot this year. So I feel like all 3 of the teams are like on the same damn level, we being honest. But if I'm going to give the deference to somebody, I will give it to Chargers. So I say the Chiefs 1, Chargers 2, Raiders 3, and the Broncos 4.
Can't fight you on that. I don't think we'll have any crazy. I mean, I think last year you picked the Chargers. Hold on.
I did pick the Chargers last year, but they sold me. So
last year you definitely had the Chargers first. No, mine's pretty much the same. I got the Chargers split with the however with the Raiders. So I have Chiefs 1, Raiders 2, Chargers 3, Broncos 4, and I think this honestly is this could be a rough decision. I mean, rough division to watch this year. I mean, you do want to watch it because of what is Harbaugh going to do, with his team and how is Bo Nix going to be. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not super excited about this division. I think this is one of the Chiefs' easiest division wins. I think it will be this year. So, what about you, Shop?
You got the Raiders at number 2. That's interesting. But I obviously went with the Chiefs number 1. I think they win the division again. So obviously that'll have them in the playoffs. I got the Chargers number 2. I actually think you guys are a little bit down on the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. We haven't really seen him have too many bad seasons just in the NFL. Obviously, he had hiatus and was in college. But the team still does have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the defensive side, who we all thought was going to get traded. Obviously, Derwin James is still there. They have Asante Samuel Jr. some other young players on their team. So I mean, I think they will be good. I think they'll be better than you guys think. I definitely don't think they'll be jumbled in with the rest of
No,
these guys.
I guess my thing is I took consideration of their loss of weapons. Their defense is going to be solid. I'm sure of that, but I just talking about offensively, really.
I like Ladd. I don't. We'll see. The Quentin Johnson.
That shit crazy.
I mean, the thing about it is that I haven't personally read into truly how he was been doing in practice. The stuff with the drops, I mean, that's gonna go viral no matter what. It's never gonna be at when people put a label on you, it's you gotta show it in game, and he's if he has any big catches in practice, that's not gonna go viral like them bad drops he has had. So I don't know, but I mean, kind of like I'm sure we're gonna have this conversation about some other teams, but if you're an elite quarterback, and I would say that everybody probably has Justin Herbert at least top 10 if I remember correctly. You know, you got to make it work. Ladd is a second round pick. He was a top receiver in college football. We'll see how he translates over. Same with Quentin Johnson. He was a first round pick. We'll see. He puts it there, so all they gotta do is catch it. Shit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But getting back into it, I got the Broncos third. I think people are a little overhyped of what Bo Nix actually did this past week. But he had like 20 passes for like 100 yards. But I don't,
I said the same as that thing, bro. That's a lot of.
But I'm interested to see. I just think I know obviously had the Raiders fourth. I don't know about their quarterback position. I have read a little bit about what's going on over there, and it does not sound good, especially on the offensive end. So
it's your boy though. It's your
I think their defense. Minshew straight. He's solid.
Minshew mania, nigga.
I think Minshew looked good with a really really great, and gifted play caller. I don't know if they got the same thing over there in Las Vegas.
That's fair.
I do think their defense will be really good, especially if Tyree Williams takes a jump on the defensive end, because they've got some pass rushers with Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby. They Malcolm Kuntz, he broke out last year. So if Tyree Wilson, he does his thing because he was a top 10 pick.
Could be better, but so we all got different orders. That's interesting to start off, for sure.
You had the Raiders at 2. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about
I'm not saying they'll have a good record, but I got them at 2. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see what the playoffs look like. Like. Well, what you got for the next one, Chris?
All right, we're gonna go to your division, AFC South. This one's actually an interesting division. Looking forward with a couple things, but I'm gonna just go ahead and start off. I got the Texans 1. I got your Colts 2. I got the Jags 3. And the reason being is, man, hey, you called it last year, man. They showed me it's just something about them. It's just how it don't always look right. It just doesn't click to me. So I don't know. I mean, their defense is going to be good, but it's that offense got to show me something, honestly. And then obviously Tennessee is just definitely last. They rebuilding, so I'm not expecting nothing out of them. But I will say week 1 is going to tell me everything I need to know about the division. Might have to flip that thing because big week 1 game.
No flipping. No flipping.
All right, Chris, I got the same exact order. I got Houston 1, Indy 2, Jaguars 3, Titans 4, and I honestly think I think this will be the same thing as last year. I think it's gonna come down to like the last couple of weeks again for who's gonna be a division winner. I think the same 3 teams will probably be around close to within a win or 2 of each other, and fucking around with the Titans, they might be in there too. So I really expect this to be one of the most competitive divisions in the league, for sure. But that's my order.
So my order is different from y'all.
Of course.
I got the Colts
Surprise.
number 1. Obviously, I think that they take another step. There's been a lot of names that have been transferred into the division. Getting a quarterback, in my opinion, is moves the needle a little bit more. So we'll get into that in a second. At number 2, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. At number 2,
I knew you gonna do that.
I think the
You don't
the
even
Texans are going to take a step back, but I also do think it'll be a closer division, and then the two teams will kind of break away. At the number 3 position, I got the Houston Texans. A lot of questions, a lot of acquisitions, a lot of great acquisitions this past offseason. But kind of like you said, the big divisional game week 1, obviously. But the rest of the schedule, obviously, they have the first place schedule. They're going to be playing the Bills. They're going to be playing the Chiefs. They got a pretty tough schedule this season. How do things look with Stephon Diggs? If he was complaining about, I don't know if it was the coaches things or if it was a Josh Allen thing, like people have made rumors about. But you might not be the number 1 option in this, and you're on a contract year. We're seeing how guys are, right in our face with Matthew Judon, Brandon Ayuk, all these guys holding out. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is kind of holding in. He's practicing, but you see these guys, especially in contract years or when they don't feel secure, how that goes. I'm not saying that Stephon Diggs is a malcontent, but
you wouldn't put it past them.
the last 2 stops.
You wouldn't put it past
the
them.
The last two stops. I mean, it does seem. I'm just saying. But anyway, and then
I will
Tennessee
say
Titans,
I feel like this quarterback, he the type to be like, shut up.
See,
I
don't know about that.
I don't think Kirk Cousins wasn't gonna say nothing. Case Keenum wasn't gonna say nothing either, and I don't think Josh Allen would either.
I think Josh Allen would. I definitely think Josh Allen would.
But
even if he wouldn't, how does him telling him to shut up go?
Yeah,
we can do this without you. We being honest.
Okay,
but I'm not saying he'll say that. I'm just saying
So if we get to that point and you're saying we can do this,
but I don't think it'll get. Honestly, I don't think
I feel very confident in saying that they're going to be
his first time with a black quarterback. I don't think it'll get to that point.
Oh. I mean, okay.
Hey,
you might. Hey, all right. Hey, I can say nothing else about that.
Hey, I can't say. I'm not gonna argue with that. Yeah. But sometimes they be having the most expectations of the black quarterback, and they be like, "Hey, you supposed to have my back."
Yeah, I mean,
that's
true. That's true too.
But ultimately, taking a step back, they were a 10-win team, barely. Obviously they won the last game of the season. So taking a step back, I'm talking 9 games, 8 games. Like it's going to be, like Cass said, I do think it's going to be a tight division. And then the Tennessee Titans, I just don't think that I like what they're doing in terms of the thought process of build around your quarterback, but like it's also you're building older guys. So kind of like how I was saying with the Falcons earlier, the Falcons aren't to this extent, but how are you helping when all your guys are going to be possibly out in the next year or so? And then Treylon Burks doesn't even look like he's making any noise from the receiver position.
Special teams.
That's disrespectful. So
no, that's what they said.
That's what they said. You traded AJ Brown for a special teamer at that point, if that's what we're saying. So,
it's a little tough.
That's my read on the Titans. It's a little tough. What are you doing with the running back position, Tony Pollard, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's a good. I think it's going to be a really good division. It's going to be a fun division to watch from start to finish.
Go ahead, Chris.
So what you got, Chris?
All right, next one we're gonna go with the AFC East. Another interesting division in the AFC. Okay, Patriots last. I'm gonna say that first, so I ain't got to worry about that. But the 3 teams, I mean, it's interesting, and so I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna say the Jets, and the reason I'm saying Jets because I feel like they with good Jets quarterback Jets play, adequate 1? Quarterback play.
Jets at 3 or 1?
Jets what?
Oh, my Patriots is the last one. Jets is at 1. I'm starting back up to the top. My bad.
Man, all over the place. All right, Jets
at 1. I mean, I feel like last year, if they had any kind of adequate quarterback play, they was easily a playoff team. They were in a lot of their games. I'm just banking on Aaron Rodgers giving a little something, just a little bit better than wherever the old boy now. I don't even remember his name, but
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean they had bad quarterback play last year, so. That's why I'm gonna go ahead and give them number 1. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills. they always been solid. Even with the departure of, like we said, Stephon Diggs. I mean, I think that'll help. That like we talked about. I think it'll help Josh Allen. He got good tight ends. He got a young receiver, good running back. So I think their offense is gonna. And I like what I saw last year from their offense ending the season off. And I mean, I know it's a lot of turnover on their defense, but they do have a defensive head coach, and they always come to play. And Miami is rounding off third. I mean, even since they had Tua and Tyree, it's just they beat up on a bad team. They can never win the big game. They can never beat the good team. I find it interesting that they play terrible in the cold, and the other three teams are in the fucking cold. I don't even know how that happened, but whatever.
We do need to have a conversation about realignment.
Man, look, because I'm like, how the hell all them three up there in the north, and you got one all the way to, like, what is this?
Definitely need to have a conversation about realignment.
No, you're 100% right about that.
Okay.
No.
What's up, Cass?
This was the toughest one of all four of them today, probably for me. I'll say this: I had those same kind of thoughts about the Dolphins, and kind of how it's pretty much proven at this point how they act once it gets cold. But I think the changes on defense, bringing in Anthony Weaver from Baltimore, it's a same scheme but new, new philosophy that you're going to have there, and I think that kind of sets them up pretty well. So I'm gonna have the Dolphins finishing first in the division. Then I'll have the Jets. Of course, this is going back and forth between the Bills and the Jets, but I just think. I think they're in a spot where they're able to lean on that defense and really take advantage, of weak spots. I mean, their schedule isn't terrible, and that helps them. But I got Aaron Rodgers having a pretty decent year this year. I'm expecting good things from him. And then I got the Bills at third. I think it's a little bit of a step back, but I would not be surprised, if they still have a great record at the end of this. And then of course the Patriots last, because what are y'all doing? You just traded your second best player, for so where you're like, where are you going? What are we doing here? We'll see. Are you going to play Drake May at all this year? Or are you going to roll with Brissett? I'm assuming you'll play Drake May eventually, but it hasn't been good things out of the camp so far that we've been hearing. So who knows? So yeah, Patriots 4. Yeah, I figured.
Especially at the same time. But I went with the Bills number one. I mean, I think their demise has been overstated. Obviously, number one, everybody was clamoring for. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Everybody was clamoring for them to, saying that they were over last year. I know a lot of people were talking about some of the stuff that they've lost, but most of those things most of the players that they lost last year were gone last year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's aside from Stephon Diggs, he was on the field, but he was gone anyway. So I think the Bills will be good. I do think that Keon Coleman will end up breaking out and being a really good rookie receiver for them.
You think he's a top receiver this year overall, including tight ends?
For them?
Yeah. For the Bills. They're top. Yeah.
Maybe not throughout the entire season, but by the end of the season, I think we'll be saying that he emerged as the top.
Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
I got New York Jets as number 2. I think Aaron Rodgers has a phenomenal season, but ultimately the Bills and Josh Allen are just slightly better. Dolphins I got at 3. Congrats to Tua finally getting paid. He can finally put that to rest, and then hopefully he can put some other rumors and stuff about him and the cold and stuff like that to rest as well. But I don't think that they will win the division this year. We'll see once we get to the playoff portion. We'll see if they make the playoffs. But I'm ending off with the Patriots. I do think the Patriots will be a little bit better than people think. You did get rid of Matthew Judon, but at the same time, he didn't play that much last year, and you were still a top defense.
And Christian
got
Gonzalez
some,
didn't play. Now he's back.
got Christian Gonzalez back. The young receivers look like they could be something. And we'll see. Obviously, Drake May will play at some point in the season. If he's not, then that's begs for other questions. But that's how I'm rounding it off. Yeah, Buffalo again. Y'all sick.
We gonna see.
Y'all sick. Josh Allen, nigga. Yeah,
I hear you.
Josh Allen,
I hear
nigga.
you. All right, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, he about to show everybody.
To round it off at the AFC North, it's probably the toughest division in the NFL. All of them play great defense, but I got the Ravens first. I got the Bengals second. I got the Browns third, and I got Pittsburgh fourth.
Why is that?
Man, look, I do not want to hop off the Deshaun Watson bandwagon.
Hey, that's
crazy. The bandwagon, nigga. Y'all are sick individual. Anyway, I still think he a good quarterback. I think he got it, man. I just think he was hurt last year. They got a good defense. They got a good team around him. I just think that he can put it together and actually have a good season this year. But obviously, the cream of the crop to me is the two at the top, the Bengals and the Ravens. I like the pickup of Derrick Henry. That's going to open up that offense even more for Lamar. And man, Bengals got to get their wide receiver situation together a little bit for me to believe that they're going to be number one at the division. But I mean, you still got a cool Joe Burrow, so I think they'll still round it off at number 2 in that division. And Steelers, I just don't. They quarterback situation, I don't know. They got
you don't believe in Justin Fields or Russ?
Who?
You believed in him last year, big bro.
I believed in who last year?
Hey, Cass said that he wanted Justin Fields on his team.
I got Michael Penix on my team, so fuck all that.
Cass thought Justin Fields could win MVP.
Stop. All right, Chris, mine is similar to yours, except for the bottom. So I got Ravens first. I wanted to put Bengals here because I had the Bengals last year, and of course they had all the injury situations on top of their slow starts. But I think this is shaping up to be another slow start for them, unfortunately. Especially with Jamar Chase's situation not figured out. It's just it's a lot that you gotta you don't know who the RB1 is right now. Right now, I think they got Chase Brown in there actually as RB1. So it's new. It's gonna be a little bit new. But I'm glad Joe Burrow's back healthy.
Zach Moss can get the job done.
Zach, yeah. But I can't put him up there because I know they'll fuck around and start 1-4, 1-3, or some shit like that. So I gotta go Ravens. Of course, big test to start off the season. So we'll see how that goes. But Ravens 1, Bengals 2. I got Steelers 3 and Browns 4. And I honestly think they'll have around the same record, the Steelers and the Browns. I think it'll just come to division wins with that. But I'm gonna go. I think the Steelers end up with another winning season. I actually do think they end up rocking with Russ the majority of the season. If not, I say the all season. I think they'll rock with Russ this season. Yeah, I think so. And then with the Browns at 4, I'm the opposite of you, Chris. I just don't think Deshaun Watson is. He'll really have to show me that he's a high level starting caliber quarterback in this league still. And I don't think
hopped off the bandwagon.
I was never on it.
Hell, he went to Texas before we knew about all that shit. Yeah, playing, bro.
All that shit is crazy. Anyway, okay. So you believe in Russ again?
I believe in Mike Tomlin.
Nah, you basically said you think the Steelers is making the playoffs. So
nah, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You said win a season, so hey, ain't gonna be too many winning seasons not making the playoffs. Yeah.
So we're gonna see.
All right, so I'll start mine off. You already know who I got. The team in purple in Baltimore, man. Lamar Jackson. I think they have an excellent season again. Once again, similar to the Bills, a lot of people have been talking about what they've lost. Losing Patrick Queen, a lot of people say that, but when you prepare and get Trenton Simpson, losing some guys, but you prepare to get them. So people don't always, think about that as well. But I'm going to go with the Bengals at number 2. I do think that Joe Burrow gets back to his ways. And I think they have a good season. I do think that Chase Brown actually ends up being pretty good. Between him and Zach Moss, I think they end up being a good running back tandem. And then they're deep at the receiver position. I would say that they would be number 1, but it's a little bit too much noise, and I just think the Ravens are too good. At 3, I also have the Browns, and I think they have a good season. We'll see if good season means playoffs or winning, but I do think that Deshaun Watson, he plays well enough that we're back to having a question. Maybe a little bit less of questions, but he has a big target on his back next year. And then rounding off, I think the Steelers, this will be Mike Tomlin's downfall, unfortunately. His team's the pass rushers are getting a little bit older. Obviously, Alex Highsmith is, we're expecting him to be something. They've got some young guys on the defense, but, Cameron Hayward, stalwart, he's getting a little bit older. TJ Watt, obviously, is getting a little bit older. Has been nicked in the past. I don't think that offense, it seems like an offense ready to implode with Russ, Justin Fields. They made way for George Pickens, but things get better. And he's coming up on where, he's about to start getting into real contract talks as well. So, I think this will be the thing that Mike Tomlin kind of regrets in the end. Instead of just cutting corners, you got to go straight for it. And they haven't done that yet. So, I think the Steelers, this will be the year that they decide to just go ahead and do a full rebuild. With Mike Tomlin maybe still there. We'll see.
I mean, he just signed an extension. It was only like 2 years, though. Okay. All right.
That don't mean a damn thing.
No, I do think, to your point, though, just how this quarterback competition has unfolded so far in camp, especially with Russ being injured. This was like the last thing you really need, honestly. So it could be a death wish. It could be a death wish because it's not like, I don't know. But you aren't tied to either of them really after this season. So your rebuild, is very possible. Very possible after this.
I'm interested to see who y'all got in the playoffs when we get into it.
Yeah.
See who y'all got going to the Super Bowl because it's going to be interesting. Obviously the Chiefs are always there with Patrick Mahomes, and after last year you kind of have to give them that respect. But with Aaron Rodgers, his return, Josh Allen, maybe some, there's addition by subtraction. Like you guys said, with Houston, Jacksonville can make some noise. Obviously, Indy, the Bengals, the Ravens. The AFC is tough, especially if Deshaun Watson, like you guys said, if he gets back to what people thought he was, who says the Browns can't be the team, especially with that defense? And, it's going to be interesting. The AFC is going to be interesting, and I'm excited to hear who y'all got in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
Cap. But next week we'll go ahead and get into the NFC. Maybe we'll see a signing here or two. We obviously had the big trade, so maybe we'll see another signing here with the NFC South.
Justin, fuck around and let's get Justin now.
But we'll get into that. We'll see where everybody falls next week with the NFC. And we'll catch you guys. Oh shit. We'll catch you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
Here.